Hello, it's Rachel and today's project is an art journal page. I'm working in my A5 Prima mixed media book. To begin with, I'm working on the background. I've chosen 3 different shades of Glimmer mist, and the idea is that I'm trying to create a sunset background. Next, I'm taking some sky blue Archival ink, and with this I'm darkening the borders, and I'm also stamping some foliage around the top and the bottom of the page. For this application I'm using a combination of both the sky blue ink as well as some Archival ink in cornflower blue. For the focal image on my page, I've chosen a fairy stamp by Lavinia, and I'm applying this to my page using versafine ink in onyx black. To ground the fairy, I'm creating a hill for her to stand on, and I happen to have a piece of paper that had this fairy stamped out already whilst I was testing the image, so I was able to line up her feet with where she's standing and create that hill more accurately. The ink I'm using for this application is cornflower blue. Now I'm going back to the foliage stamp and just creating a little bit of extra foliage where it disappeared into the hill. The stamp I'm using here, I didn't mention earlier, is by Art Impressions. The next elements I've chosen to add to my project are 3 little mice. Again, this is a stamp set by Lavinia, and I've chosen to stamp 2 of these mice onto my project. The ink I'm using again is versafine ink in onyx black. Once I've stamped the first of these little mice, I switch to a stars stamp. This is a tiny background stamp, also by Lavinia, and this is to create the effect of the fairy sprinkling stardust onto the little mice. The ink I'm using here is a darker blue ink. It is this time Archival in cobalt blue. Now I'm choosing another element to add to my project, again stamps by Lavinia. These are mushrooms which I stamp multiple times to create some interest in the foreground of the project. text I've chosen to add to my page says, "Those who do not believe in magic will never find it." And I've printed this out using my Brother label making machine. And in order for ink to stick to this label, because it has a shiny surface, I first add a coat of golden matte medium, and then I'm using Ranger cut and dry foam to apply a layer of Archival ink. Next, I cut up my strips into 3 sections, and I'm going to edge those with cobalt blue Archival ink so that they stand out when they're applied to the page. After applying my text to the page, I'm using Ranger cut and dry foam because I decided that I wanted the border to be even darker, so this time I'm going around it using the cobalt blue Archival ink, which was the darkest of the 3 inks I've been using for this project. The final stamps that I'm using on my page are called Fairy Orbs, again by Lavinia. I'm using the 2 smaller stamps from this set of 3, again stamping in versafine ink in onyx black. And once I've finished stamping the Fairy Orbs, I decide to add some highlights using a Posca paint pen in white. Finally, I wanted to add a little more sparkle to the page, so for this I've chosen a Wink of Stella pen. This is the clear, and I'm going over the inside of the fairy orbs and also over the fairies' wings. And that brings us to the end of today's project. I hope you enjoyed watching. As always, there is a link in the video description to the full product list, and there are also links to my social media sites should you wish to follow me there too.